What's up, guys? Rick here with your betting and one and done preview for this week's Tour Championship, and it is something special. Basically throwing everything out the window for the Tour Championship because it is a staggered start. Talked a lot about that in the DFS video. You can go and check that out. We'll obviously touch on it here as well and what it means, because you can bet golfers to win the golf tournament either with or without the starting strokes, which is always a lot of fun. Additionally, we will get to one and done strategy at the end of the episode. Now, I will tell you this. If you want to join a one and done league that starts next week at the Safeway and runs through next year's Tour Championship, well, you are in luck, because I've started the first ever Run Good One and Done. Someone told me I should have called it the Run and Done. Yeah, I should have. I wish you would have tweeted that at me before I released everything. That would have been pretty fun. But it's the first one and done I've ever put together. All the information can be found at rickrungood.com/OAD. There will also be a link in the description. If you go over to the DFS video, you can enter a drawing for have me reimburse your entry fee. So that'll be fun, but go check that out. It's going to be a ton of fun. And that will be the contest that we talk through each and every week in this video. So that's pretty cool too. You'll probably see your name up on the screen a handful of times throughout the year. All right, let's talk about betting this week's Tour Championship. This is normally where I would show you the tournament predictor tool. However, with the staggered start, there's so much going on, I actually thought it would just be better if I showed you the matrix. And the matrix is something that I created last year for the first staggered start, and I've rolled it back out again this year. If you want this, you can download this. It's on the RickRunGood.com cheat sheet. There's a button at the top that says Matrix. So click that. It'll download into your browser, and you can mess around with this. But as I showed you in the DFS video, what you can do with this is you can go through and you can change the types of performances for each golfer and see what the outcome would be. So it uses all of the stats that we have available on these golfers, what their ceiling is, what their floor is, and how likely they are to make up the strokes over the course of 4 rounds. So the staggered start. Dustin Johnson will start at 10 under par, Jon Rahm 8 under, Justin Thomas 7 under, for example. So you can bet who's going to win the tournament with the staggered start. Let's start there. So Dustin Johnson is a heavy favorite to win this golf tournament at plus 188, okay? 1.8 to 1 on your money. Jon Rahm is plus 275. Justin Thomas is 500. Webb Simpson is 900. And Bryson D Chambeau is 2,200. So let's talk about those guys a bit individually here. Dustin Johnson, plus 188. Should he be plus 188? Probably not. If you look at the starting odds without the strokes, both Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson are 5.5 to 1. So what this is saying is, essentially the 2 shots to Vegas is pretty valuable, because that turns that really narrows the gap between, or it doesn't narrow the gap. It widens the gap between Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm to 188, 275 on the plus side of the odds. So to me, that's a 2-shot lead over 4 holes is not worth that. It's simply not. And if you look at the matrix here, what's actually most interesting about this is because how good Jon Rahm is on a consistent basis. If every single player in the field plays to their average, Jon Rahm would win the golf tournament. And I put that in quotes because, he would gain about a quarter of a stroke more than Dustin Johnson would after he made up the 2 shots. Okay, so it would be close. It might go to a playoff if everyone played to their averages, right? For example, but getting that at 275 over Dustin Johnson at 188 is much more appealing. So if you made me bet between those 2 guys, I would take Jon Rahm here, because I do not find I think that the odds makers are overvaluing the 2-shot lead from Dustin Johnson. It's simply simply not as important as I think they think it is. Then next you get Justin Thomas at 5-1. Is Justin Thomas a good play? What has to happen for him to get into the lead here? Well, apparently not all that much. Now, he hasn't played as well recently. Let's see if I can get him there. He hasn't played this well recently, but he obviously has a really high floor. Here we go. Justin Thomas would only need a 64th percentile finish. Okay, that's something he's going to do fairly often. It's slightly above average. And then if everyone else plays to their average, Justin Thomas would win this golf tournament. Now, that's not going to happen. You know, Dustin Johnson might play above average. Jon Rahm might play above his average. But it's conceivable that Justin Thomas can get there, and he's 5-1. I don't love it. I like it. I'm starting to love Webb Simpson at 9-1 with the strokes being involved. So what does Webb Simpson need to do to get to first place? I'm just going through here. Okay. So Webb Simpson needs a 68th percentile performance. So a slightly better than average performance while the rest of the field plays to their average. What is interesting about Webb Simpson, he actually has a higher a higher ceiling than Justin Thomas. He has a higher ceiling than Jon Rahm. He does not have a higher ceiling than Dustin Johnson. No one does. No one has a floor like Dustin Johnson either. So Webb Simpson, I actually think, so Webb is the only guy in this field who did not play last week. And it could not have gone better for him. Like, it could not have gone better. He only lost one shot in the staggered start. So he went into the BMW Championship third in the FedEx Cup standings. So he would have been 7 under par if he stayed there. Justin Thomas leapfrogs him. So he starts at 6 under par. It was conceivable, depending on what the outcome was, that Webb could have dropped 3 or 4 strokes at the Tour Championship. But because Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm, who I think maybe Jon Rahm leapfrogged him actually. JT was already up there. Jon Rahm leapfrogged him. But because DJ also was already up there, those guys just extended their lead. It would have been much worse if Morikawa and Berger went to a playoff for Webb Simpson, because both of those guys would have jumped him. So it actually ended up being a great thing for Webb to not only get the rest, but he basically lost the minimum number of strokes he could have lost for last week. And the way that he plays, I mean, he is a strokes gained maven. This guy dominates fields, okay? It doesn't feel that way, but he does. So he does not need all that big of a performance to get to first here. And at 9-1 and only 3 guys ahead of him, it's pretty juicy, because you also have to consider how many guys you have to pass, right? I mean, it's one thing for Webb to jump 3 guys. It's another for Patrick Reed to jump 12 or 13 or whatever he's going to have to jump. So you have to take all of this into consideration, but that 9-1 number, extremely juicy. Okay. I talked about Webb Simpson. Colin Morikawa, Bryson D Chambeau, Rory McIlroy, they're all 22-1, but they're all at different starting scores. Colin Morikawa is 5 under. Does he possess a ceiling high enough to get to this winning score, and what would it take? It would take a pretty good one. Let's see, 70. Yeah, basically, he needs an 80th percentile performance. Now you're asking a lot. To put that into perspective, you're asking him to gain, what would that be? 15 here. Let me see if I can do the math real quick. You're asking him to gain essentially 10 strokes on the field over 4 days. That is something he's done 6 times in his young career. Out of, 30 something? So, I mean, it's possible, but it also assumes that all of the guys ahead of him, Webb Simpson, Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson, play at or below their average. So you're basically flipping coins, 4 times here, right? So if you need DJ to play below his average, Rahm to play below, JT to play below, Webb to play below, and then Morikawa to have a 6 out of 30 shot, an 80th percentile, something like that. It's a lot that has to happen. It's a lot. His ceiling is high, but it's not that high. The guy who at 22-1, his ceiling is high enough to kind of make this happen, it's Bryson. So I hate to, I've been tooting my own horn all week on this, but this matrix, last year I came on here and I said, 5 under Rory McIlroy. I said, he is the guy furthest back that can win this golf tournament, because you look at how far back he is, how many guys he has to pass, how high his ceiling is, he can do it. And he did. Now he proved me right. I got lucky there. It was right. I'm going to try to double down on this. I believe that Bryson D Chambeau is the furthest back of guys that can come back in this. He possesses not only the upside to win the golf tournament, but he's also he's not in a good position. It's an okay position based on his upside. So he is 4 under par. So he's going to be 6 shots off the lead. This is deeper than Rory McIlroy was last year. But he would need, what type of event would he need here? So if he gets his 80th percentile event, which is gaining 11 and a half-ish strokes on the field. Let's see how often he has done something like that. A lot, actually. So 11 and a half. He's done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's done it 14 times. And a lot of them are this year. About a third or more of them are in 2020. So when I look at that, I see a guy who not only has a high upside ceiling, but he's done it recently, and he's not in that advantageous position, but he's not dead. This is as far back as I think someone can win this. So that means that I think the only guys that can win this are Dustin Johnson, Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, Webb Simpson, Colin Morikawa, and Bryson D Chambeau. That's it. Those are the only guys that I can conceivably see winning this golf tournament. Okay, and the last 2, Morikawa and Bryson, are 22-1. If you want to talk about, top 5, top 10 finishes, those are kind of harder too for some of these guys to make up, because you're talking about, 5 under is going to start as a top 5. So for someone in, the -2s to jump out of there, they're going to need to make up 3 shots and then kind of proceed on that trajectory. I think I made it very clear in my DFS video. The guys that I think have legitimate upside to fly up this leaderboard are Joaquin Niemann. I think Mackenzie Hughes can fly up the leaderboard. Those are guys that I think are the best cases to move up. What are they like top 5? Let's see what the math is here. Mac Hughes, 50-1 to finish in the top 5. That would be, it's asking a lot, quite frankly. Joaquin Niemann, 12-1 to finish in the top 5. Not as bad. I'd have to check their top 10 numbers. But if you want to do this with no starting strokes, so this is where it gets really wonky, because if you just put everybody on a level playing field, the problem is the golfers don't know that. Right? They're looking at the actual leaderboard, trying to see how many shots back they are. They might be taking more risks trying to jump up to the lead when they might already be in the lead of the no strokes version of this. So it's really hard to kind of put yourself into the mindset of what's going to happen here. But just to kind of talk through what I think what Vegas thinks of these guys if they're all on a level playing field. DJ and Jon Rahm, I mentioned, both 5.5-1. Justin Thomas, 7.5-1. Rory and Xander and Webb are 10-1. Webb is, hold on, so he's 10-1 with no strokes and 9-1 with the strokes. I guess you'd take the strokes then, because there's only 3 guys ahead of him. He's 4 back, or otherwise everybody starts at a level playing field, right? It's been a long day. Am I understanding that correctly? So he's 9-1 with strokes, 10-1 without. I guess we just take the strokes. Bryson is 12-1. That's kind of long. I'm trying to see if there's anybody who can win like the no stroke version of this. Rory last year wins them both. He just goes out and snaps off both of them. Not sure who would be. So here's where I'd love to deploy like Joaquin Niemann top 5 without strokes. Oh, I was reading the wrong thing. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, no, I wasn't. I was right. Sorry. I was right. Joaquin Niemann top 5 without strokes. That's interesting now. 6-1. Mac Hughes, 14-1, because there is something about some of these guys know they got to move up, right? They're going to be freewheeling it all week. Will they fall short? Probably, but top 5 without strokes is pretty interesting for those guys there. Even like Kevin Kisner, 5.5 to 1. That's pretty interesting. So it's really weird. It's really wonky. This matrix really helps me understand what the actual range of outcomes are for this week, and then trying to find bets that are according. So where I'm going, so with strokes, I will probably bet Jon Rahm because I just think that's a good value. I will probably bet Webb, and I will probably throw a bone on Bryson at 22 to 1 because I don't think I can bet anybody else because I don't think anybody else can win it. I think that's burning money for the rest of those guys. But those are the 3 that I like the most out of like the 5 or 6 that I think can conceivably win this golf tournament. Okay, let's talk about one and done real quick here. So you were looking at the one and done page on RickRunGood.com, all of the rules, all of the sign up, your deadline, which is Friday the 4th at 10 p.m. Eastern. To sign up is on here. I've got a video that you can go check out with all of the rules, and you can join the league. It should be a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to it. So next week and the weeks after that, you're going to see a whole bunch of new dashboards and things like that because I'm going to be creating all of the tools for the one and done, to know your standings, to know who has been picked by every single person. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm super stoked to get into it. Biggest thing about one and done this week, know your rules, homies. Are you playing for bonuses? Are you playing for a percentage of your bonus? Are you using strokes? Are you not using strokes? This should all be laid out in the rules of your one and done league. Pretty simple. If you're playing for bonuses, wow, that is big. If someone is going to get $15 million or 15 million points, it's going to change the entire outlook and complexion, of your one and done standings. If that's the case, and if you are using the leaderboard and you have DJ or Jon Rahm, go for it. There's really no option here. You got to kind of sell out. I think at this point in the week, you know the guys I like. There's only 30 of them. Like, there's a chance you're using Billy Horschel this week because you've used everybody else. I actually was in a one and done, or I guess I'm still in a one and done, where I was hoping to be able to use Sungjae. I was hoping Sungjae was going to just hold on to a pretty good spot in the standings. His game was going to start to come around. I think he's starting at 4 under. I don't think I can even use him if I want to. I mean, I just don't know what I expect out of him. So unfortunately, that kind of backfired on me. But there are a couple guys that kind of snuck into this that might be able to make a little bit of noise. I'm trying to think about where their starting position would be. Let me pull up the strokes real quick. Yeah, so like low key, if you were super desperate, Sebastian Munoz is starting at 3 under. He is so annoying to watch, but he's starting in the middle of the pack, and he's actually been pretty good recently. So if you were super desperate and needed to go with someone who you just got to get some money out of, maybe he finishes 11th, maybe he finishes 10th. I think Sebastian Munoz might be that guy. I do think Neiman can fly. I think Lanto can fly up. I think Matt Hughes can fly up. Now, what's a good outcome for Matt Hughes? Well, let's think about this. Ches Reavie last year, who basically won everybody all the money on DraftKings, so he flew everybody up the leaderboard. I think he started at 1 under and finished 8th. Matt Hughes is going to start at even. If he finished 8th, that'd be great. If he finished 11th, that'd also be awesome. So, you got to consider what a good outcome for some of these guys are. Terrell Hatton further down the board, I think, is pretty interesting. You're just kind of at the point, you shouldn't have much of a decision to make this week because you should have been planning for this week, right? Like, you should have known who was available to you, who was going to be making it to East Lake, what your strategy was. If you've been chasing, if you've been front running for a couple of weeks, you should have had a general idea of who you're going to play. So I don't know if this is your finale. It's going to be the finale for essentially this video, because next week we're going to talk about Safeway Open one and done as if it is a brand new season, because we're going to be starting our one and done season next week. So I don't think I have anything too insightful to say about a one and done this week that we've been talking about for, however many months. And this is kind of the natural ending point of this season. And next season, we're going to have a blank slate and we're going to have everybody possible to use. So, I don't want to waste any more oxygen or waste any more of your time if I don't have anything insightful to say. So join the Rick Run Good one and done, rickrungood.com/OAD. It'll be a big feature next week on the show and every week moving forward. You will have a dashboard and everything. Let me know what you think about this week. Are you betting with the strokes? Are you betting without the strokes? Do you care at all? All that good stuff at Rick Run Good. Or leave a comment below. Talk to you guys later. Good luck.